Zuckerberg and Facebook are on trial right now to try to avoid getting broken up. At trial, Zuckerberg defends buying Instagram and WhatsApp. They're calling it a landmark antitrust trial. This is the FTC, Federal Trade Commission, versus Meta platforms. And here's the thing is Trump is a little bit weird on this topic because he has a hatred of certain platforms. He has a hatred of certain oligarchs like Zuckerberg because they were part of his of Russiagate, the Russiagate hoax. I mean, perpetrating it. They were part of covering up certain information, like the Hunter Biden laptop story. And Zuckerberg has gone through this whole, oh, I'm a bro now. I'm a right-wing borderline MAGA guy now. And he's gone through this whole brand laundering. Went on Joe Rogan to do a 3-hour brand laundering segment. I hope he paid Joe big time for that. I hope he paid him like $1 billion for that. And part of the reason he's doing that is because he needs Donald Trump to basically get in the way of this, to stop this breaking up of his some level of monopoly. I don't know enough about the legalities and everything. Although Trump doesn't care about legalities, so who knows what Trump could do. But the proceedings for this were started way before Trump got in office, and I don't know if Trump has the ability to just, the court says that Meta needs to be broken up, and Trump just goes, nah. In a landmark antitrust trial, Mark Zuckerberg, the chief executive of Meta, on Tuesday defended the social media company's 2012 acquisition of Instagram. He argues when Instagram was competing with his company's now defunct camera app, he says, we were doing a build versus buy analysis. I thought that Instagram was better at that, so I thought it was better to buy them. And basically, he's just supposed to say, in this trial, Zuckerberg's supposed to say, we weren't trying to buy our competition. We weren't worried about their, they're too competitive. We just really wanted Instagram because we thought they were doing a bang-up job. It's just so funny, like the idea. Of course he's going to say that. Of course he's going to walk in front of, oh, yeah, we did not want to buy a competitor just to decrease competition. We just thought it would be good for the company to have an Instagram app. It's just... It's so stupid. How could the law be based on what this absolute parasite thinks? What he says his reasoning was. Meta bought Instagram for $1 billion. 2 years later, they bought WhatsApp for $19 billion. Zuckerberg has acknowledged that they may be forced to sell Instagram and WhatsApp. He said, I just want to be mindful that we should have a strategy ready. Legal experts caution that the FTC faced an uphill climb to win. The government is asking the judge to look back more than a decade and find that Meta stayed powerful by quashing competitors through its acquisitions. Regulators approved Instagram and WhatsApp deals at the time, raising questions about why. But here's the larger point of this is the gravity of capitalism. Capitalism will always end up with the most wealth, and eventually, if revolution doesn't come first, it'll end up with all of the wealth in the hands of a tiny number of motherfuckers. That is it. That is all. It will always end up there. And you will see movements as it's the black hole at the center of the galaxy, right? It seems okay right now. Eventually, we'll be swallowed by a black hole. But that's what capitalism is. It's slowly spinning, sucking everything in. Of course, they're going to buy up their competition. Like the most sociopathic and the greediest will win at this game. If you want the money more than anyone else, and you're willing to lie, cheat, and steal to get there, then yeah, some occasionally will get rejected along the way. Some might end up in prison. But of those ones that become the exception, there's going to be a lot more that become really successful thanks to lying, cheating, and stealing. We live in inverted totalitarianism ruled by the anonymous corporate state. They are the ones that pull the strings. Yeah, Trump's a bit of a rogue on certain things, but they're still the ones pulling the strings. They have the $100 million to fund Trump's inauguration. So Trump goes, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't break up Facebook. Now, maybe Trump's anger about how Facebook has treated him is greater than his happiness over the $100 million for the inauguration. Who knows? Maybe he'll actually further this and allow it to go through, breaking up a Facebook. And if that succeeds, well, what does that show? That just shows that one psychopath, Trump, was able to get his enemies. The other psychopath was able to win and break them up a little bit. It's the end game of capitalism. It's where the gravity will always take us. And the reason these things are so rare, I mean, think about it. if our government was actually good at keeping companies a fair and competitive size so that they don't buy up their enemies or somehow get in the way of that competitive nature. If our government was good at that, you'd hear about this kind of shit all the time. They'd be breaking up companies left and right. It almost never happens. When was the last company you heard broken up because they were too big? It basically doesn't happen. So even if this happens because Trump hates Facebook and he lets it go through or whatever, or because it started in the prior administration, whatever, it's an exception. Department of Justice won a suit last year accusing Google of maintaining a monopoly in search, and a proceeding to determine the remedies for the violations is set for next week. The department has sued Google over its dominance in ad technology as well. Apple was also a target of a suit by the government, which accused it of making it difficult for iPhone and iPad users to leave its ecosystem. There are some light efforts. First of all, they're probably going to fail. And if they succeed, they're a rarity. It's not common that big corporations get broken up. But I want to bring you this kind of on a similar note. This is from The Guardian. The Silicon Six, accused of avoiding almost $278 billion of U.S. corporation taxes over 10 years. $278 billion. The big American tech firms known as the Silicon Six have been accused of $278 billion tax avoidance. Amazon, Meta, Alphabet, Netflix, Apple, and Microsoft generated $11 trillion of revenue and $2.5 trillion of profits over the past 10 years, yet they paid an average of 18% in combined national and federal corporate taxes, compared to the average for an American, 29.7%. So the richest corporations in the fucking world pay way less in taxes than you and me. And who do you think could pay that amount of money more easily than those shitbag corporations? They paid on average 18.8%. The Fair Tax Foundation, which said the Silicon Six have hardwired tax avoidance into their business models. Analysis by the not-for-profit organization found that if one-off repatriation tax payments in the U.S. connected to historical tax avoidance were excluded, the average corporate income tax contribution of the six firms fell to 16% off over the past decade. The companies had also inflated their stated tax payments by $82 billion over the same period by including contingencies for tax they did not pay. The chief executive of FTF said, our analysis would indicate the tax avoidance continues to be hardwired into corporate structures. The Silicon Six's corporate income tax contributions are, in percentage terms, way below what sectors such as banking and energy are paying in many parts of the world. They screw you and me in every different way. They also do it by avoiding paying their taxes. And most of this is quote unquote legal. And we're told these are American corporations, and our government bends over backwards to do everything for most of these corporations. I think I've told this story before, but years ago, before Redacted Tonight, with a couple other people, I went down to the Cayman Islands to investigate the tax haven there. And there's one address in the Cayman Islands that has something like 60,000 businesses that pay almost zero taxes. And we showed up at the address, and it's a one-story building. It's a little one-story building, Cayman Islands. And and I was like, wow, they got 60,000 businesses in there. It's incredible. They must have desk chairs the size of blueberries. I can't imagine the rush on the coffee pot alone every morning. Must be horrific. Must be a stampede of 20,000 people all trying to get coffee. Just people dying under the feet of under-caffeinated, sad corporate employees. 60,000 businesses in that tiny one-story building. Do you understand? At the root of it, all these rules, all these so-called laws, they're just for you and me. They're not for the top. They're not for the rich, golden, ball-sacked assholes. It's for you and me. We're the ones who's supposed to pay attention to the laws and not break them. They can break them all they want. Literally, you're rich enough, you can run someone over in your car. And you go to court and you say, you know, you had a Twinkie and you got a sugar high or something. And they go, okay, yeah, not guilty. These laws are just for you and me.